Good morning. This is Professor Anderson with a little bit of feedback for your writing assignment number 1. I want to share with you that I'm using the assignment rubric. If you go into your assignment or into this course and you click on assignments, and then each one of the individual assignments, this is Communication Inhibitors Report, and scroll down through, you'll see the rubric underneath. The rubric is just the assessment guidelines. It shares what areas we're going to evaluate and how. Above that rubric, and you'll notice this assignment is divided into 4 separate sections. So is the rubric, and that's how each one of the rubrics are oriented. If you click on the PDF for the assignment, it shares just the task itself, the summary of what it is that you're expected to produce. So if I take a look at yours, I'm looking at 4 separate sections. The first one is an overview, a description of the community, and including the descriptions of 4 that occur in the setting. So really what you want to do is describe the work that you do or the place where you live, the type, the structure, and the people that are oriented in there, and the kind of communication that takes place there. In your paper, while this is a template that the PDF asks you to follow, you want to remove these taglines. So you just want to highlight, if you just click and copy and paste, remove these. Keep the separate Roman numeral, sort of the outlined enumeration of it, but you want to remove this. I recommend starting off your paper by saying, I work for a multicultural service organization. I'm in a unit of 15 employees, and our overall company is designed for 30 employees. We deal with and describe what is the work that you do, and then describe the building or the structure that you work in. So we're on one office floor. We have 5 people jammed into one room. We have, we're spread across the country in 15 different states. And then describe the kind of communication. Our communication takes place via email. Our communication takes place via, face-to-face video conference or text messages, or, our communication is around the boardroom table only on Mondays. So the basic understanding is to help you focus and to give me a better understanding of, 1, what's the job? Where does it take place, and what kind of communication takes place inside of there? And that way it helps to focus your attention towards understanding how different inhibitors impact communication. So I hope that gives a little better understanding. In the definitions, again, you want to take off this tagline right here. That's the description from the assignment that you don't need to include in your report. And you've used what we call parallel structure, which is great. In the PDF, it recommends, I think it doesn't say you have to. Yeah, there we go. 3 to 4 part 2. Let me just double check to make sure. Great. Oftentimes students use bullet points or numbers, and they'll indent this a little bit just to separate it. One of the things that we'll be talking about in the next few weeks is called use of white space, and that is how it is that you organize the information on the paper so that the reader can flow through. So what I like about this is you've done that in parallel structure. They all look the same in terms of using the same sentence structure, the same style, and that's very easily read by your reader. When we come to the table, I got your note that said this was difficult. I will put up another screencast to show you how to do this inside of your UMUC email, that I think it'll be a little bit easier for you, I'm hoping. So if you look inside of here, this is just a table. What you want to make sure that you do inside of this, remember, this is identify or define the situation, name the inhibitor, and then define or describe the situation, name the inhibitor, and then define how that inhibitor impacted the site. So while you do give quotes, you want to give a very specific situation. So at our last quarterly meeting, we noted a surplus of funds, and one colleague, sarcastically commented, "I'll give it to her. She gets paid more than I do." Or I guess maybe we had a work overload, and one colleague or one person in the workplace suggested that the work be given to another person because that person makes more, therefore they should do more work. So what you want to do is, in this section right here, give me as much definition as possible as to what was going on when that situation occurred. And then you're right, this is perfectly identifiable. It is an attitudinal barrier. And then what you want to do here is take this here. This first top, all people in the unit are doing similar work, but bring different level of expertise and experience. That's absolutely right. But that doesn't have to do with the attitudinal barrier. What the attitude, the problem or the definition of why this is an attitudinal barrier, the attitudes keep the unit from communicating and sharing knowledge to improve productivity. That's exactly right. So here, give a little bit more of a description of what took place, what happened. You have the identification of the barrier, and then why that barrier was used. What was the problem that that barrier posed? And then when you give your reflection, you have rated it as a 50 out of 100, which sounds like, yes, you have a lot going on there. So you just want to make sure that you are including that those barriers are significant. So the purpose of this paper is to help you focus on why, identifying what barriers you are presented with in your daily life, whether it's at the workplace or the home life, and how those barriers impact the progress of what needs to be accomplished. So I look forward to reading your final draft.